Brilliant. So welcome to LiveZ. We're a home care platform provider, and we're looking to transform the care industry and bring it into the 21st century. So to tell you about LiveZ is almost to tell you about myself. So I've grown in and around the care sector for more than 8 years and grew up working as a care worker. And my family have a small agency in the east of England. So I've had the opportunity of seeing hundreds of customers, hundreds of caregivers, and really understanding the pain points of the industry. So to set the scene a little bit, there are millions and millions of people with unmet care needs. More support needs to be provided throughout the care process. And what's shocking is that 25% of providers are at risk of closure. So the service model is unsustainable. Now, why? Why is the care sector in crisis? So it's recruitment and retention, a lack of innovation, and public margin squeezing. And the point of pain is so deep for customers and for caregivers. So for those families seeking care, there's an unmet care need with more than 1.6 million people not receiving the care and support they need, with activities such as getting out of bed, preparing food, or going to the bathroom. And for those families lucky enough to find care services, they report poor support and communication, a lack of continuity, care quality concerns, and being an extremely complicated system to navigate. And then on the other side of the coin, we have these caregivers, everyday superheroes who look after our loved ones. And they report low rates of pay, tough working conditions, and a poor job perception. And having worked as a carer myself for many years, I can attest to these myself. So in a nutshell, we're looking to solve this huge accessibility problem of care by connecting care seekers and caregivers and providing a smarter end-to-end care service driven by data with the ambition of making care more accessible for all. So our two-sided home care platform improves care quality for our customers and families. So our innovative care model allows for greater accessibility and continuity. We're able to enable and open up channels of support, communication, and transparency, but we're also converting the vast amount of unused data in the sector into digital health tools to inform both families and medical professionals, while also implementing aspects of primary care to fill in the gaps in the healthcare sector. And for our caregivers, we're able to pay more than 40% higher wages as compared to the market average through our cost advantage that comes through our technology. Our features allow us to provide greater support and progression opportunities, but most importantly, we're improving their working conditions. And this is by reducing the amount they have to travel, reducing their administrative burden, reducing wastage of time, and also giving them more control over who, when, and where they work. So we think that in our 5th year, we can generate a revenue of 82.5 million. And this is based off tracking the growth rates of the market and of relevant competitors. So to break this down into platform numbers, that's 7,500 customers and 2,600 carers. So the highly regulated nature of the industry, meaning that we can only attack the supply right now. So in our pre-recruitment campaign, we have managed to gather a waiting list of carers of more than 1,000 people, carers waiting to join our platform. And in the 2 weeks that our registration platform have come live, we have been able to get more than 50 applications fully onboarded onto our platform with a significantly low cost per lead as compared to the industry, and extremely warming sentiments from carers around the country who see the value not only that we're adding to them, but to the sector as a whole. So we're looking to raise around £750,000, and this money is going towards building our infrastructure to overcome the regulatory requirements, fueling our pilot launch, and bringing our MVP to version 2. So this gives us 18 months of runway, will enable us to solidify product market fit, enter the public sector, and begin phase 1 expansion. So I want to welcome any questions you may have, and I really think that together we can start improving people's lives. Thank you.
Well, Akshay, super professional pitch, super well-timed, super well thought out. I think the company's super interesting. I'm going to dive into my questions in a sec. Folks who are listening in on the live stream, again, that's at thestartuptank.com/live. If you guys want to tune into this or future segments, put your questions, etc., into the YouTube chat channel. And then when we get time, we'll ask those at the end. So you can get those as a follow-up. In addition, Akshay and other founders, make sure you guys are posting your contact information there as well for any investors or possible prospects that want to reach out. So a couple common questions I have for you, or things that pop up initially, is a huge market, but also super highly regulated. How do you deal with that regulation being an early pre-seed company? How do you convince investors that this is something worth taking a shot on?
Yeah, so firstly, the market size, the in-home adult social care market in the UK is worth £22.8 billion per year. And yes, it's a very regulated industry. However, the care sector is very unique in that the care requirements and care hurdles that there are to enter the market are very easy to lay out, but require the the compliance aspect. So firstly, on our technological aspect, we're working with our regulatory body and also working with professionals in the space to essentially bulletproof our compliance, regulatory, and legal components, as well as bulletproofing our technology beyond that. And also we've been able to work with some amazing mentors and professionals in the sector, also having a deep family background, that we have a deep knowledge and have created an all-encompassing framework to essentially comply with all the standards that there may be it data protection, be it care compliance, and safety, and all of that.
What about compliance on the Uberized side of things, in terms of the UK has new laws with concerns to Uber and to freelance workers?
Yeah, of course. So we're reaching this new era in the gig economy with now a new category of worker being created called the dependent worker. So we've based our model based on the newest legislative changes that have happened in the last 6 months, and working around that dependent worker model allows us to, one, maintain a compliance and supervisory component over all the care that ensues on our platform, but also gives our carers the freedom to, one, work in the manner in which they want to and optimize their working life, but also in a way that they can increase their earnings and increase their opportunities for progression as well on our platform. So being able to translate our cost advantage, higher wages, overcomes all of those problems that Uber very famously had with the High Court in London.
So the market that you're tackling as well is massively growing.
Yes,
but it's also has we kind of talked about this a little bit. There's also a churn issue as well,
yes,
which is morbid to talk about, but I'm sure investors are going to think of.
Yeah.
How do you pair those two things together, and how do you sell that vision to investors?
Yeah, so well, we know in most of the Western world we have an aging population. People are living longer, and more people living with long-term and chronic conditions. So we know the demand for care services is only set to increase and continue to do so. And we're seeing this high level of churn because of two or three things, as I mentioned in the beginning. It's this lack of innovation. So it's a very archaic industry, which has seen very little disruption. We're also seeing that recruitment and retention, having a grip on supply and having a reliable source of carers is the biggest issue, as well as public margin squeezing. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to get to the hearts of carers and being able to see what their key issues are and create solutions for them. So whether it's significantly increased wages, improved working conditions, and also reframing their job role. And in doing that, we believe that we can essentially reduce the amount of churn that occurs in the industry and create a sustainable, viable manner for servicing the market of care in a way that we can take into the future.
So I've got one more question for you before we open it up to the audience. And that is, if you fail, why will you fail?
If we fail, it will be because we haven't been able to grip the nature of supply in the manner that we believe we have. But I think the data we have is extremely promising so far. So beyond that, it's just whether we can gather the awareness out in the market that care is changing, join us on this wave.
Awesome. And Claudia Gonzalez Tornquist, thanks for the question. She wants to know if you're just working in the UK, and I'll piggyback off of that in terms of what's the expansion plans as well as you grow?
Yeah, so firstly, we're starting in the UK because it's the market that we know most about. It's where I'm from as well. And also then beyond that, our expansion plans, there are many adjacent industries within the UK that our infrastructure will be able to move into, be it childcare, be it nursing care, digital health. These are all adjacent markets that we will be able to service. But then if we think internationally, there's the US, there's Canada, there is France and Germany, all markets which have very similar healthcare ecosystems as we do, and it's very similar demographics and changing shapes and patterns that exist. So just the US market alone is a 93 billion in-home care market itself. So the scope for international expansion is huge.
Is it fair to say, compared to other healthcare companies, you have a faster entry model because you don't have to go for public money?
Yes, very much so. And also the nature of care itself is that the level of training that it goes into is obviously much lower than doctors or nurses, for example. So it allows us for a very quick turnaround between entering a market and becoming a mature player.